Oi, oi, lads. There he is, guys. Monka Christ, man. Get your crosses out, chat. We need to purge the world of the Demi-Lich. This thing is a sketch, dude. Sketch. Alright, chat. There are a lot of cards to get through. Where were we? Where were we? Let's go. Barrowin of Clan Undur. That's a 2WB for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. When it attacks, return up to one creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you've completed a dungeon. Okay, GG's. Improvised Weaponry, 2 and a red for a sorcery, deals 2 damage to any target, create a treasure token. Sorcery speed, by the way. Even if it was instant, it's still a scuffed Prismari command. Drider, 4B. For a 4/3 reach. When it deals combat damage to a player, make a token. Shit. Farida's Fireball. 5 damage to creature or planeswalker, roll a dice. Deal 2 to each player, deal 2 to each opponent. Trash. Faraday Devil's Chosen. 4 mana 3/3. Tiefling Warlock. Tiefling Warlock? What the hell is a Tiefling? Tiefling? T-Efling. T-Efling. Spoiler speedrun? Well, I mean, some of these cards are just bad, aren't they? We'll take our time on the interesting ones. Whenever you roll a die, she gets Menace and Flying until end of turn. If any of those results in 10 or higher, draw a card. Seems kind of good and limited, that one. Fate's Reversal. Return one creature from graveyard to hand, venture into a dungeon. Nope. Spiked Trap. 1 with Flash. And it's 5 mana to roll a dice. And you can deal 5 to a creature or 5 to a creature, create a treasure. Nope. +2 mace. Wait, that's the actual name of the card? +2 mace. What? Displacer Beast. 3 mana 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, venture. And for 4, return it to hand. Four 3 for 4 when it dies, venture. 5 mana, 4/1 reach. 4/1. You get a 2/2 when it comes into play. Planar Ally, 3WW for a 3/3 flyer. When it attacks, venture into the dungeon. Secret
Venture into
Door.
the stream.
Artifact, creature, wall, 5 mana, venture. Instruments of the Bards. 1 green artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a harmony counter on Instrument of the Bards. For 4 mana and a tap, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of harmony counters on Instrument of the Bards. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If that card is legendary, create a creature token, then shuffle. Why into your hand, man? Why not into play? Why not into play? Why not into play, though? So it's 1 mana and then 4 mana about 3 or 4 turns in the future to draw a creature from your deck into your hand. This thing kind of sucks, no? For a 1-drop artifact, maybe not. I don't know, man. Because in the type of decks that you don't want to play this, you kind of want 1 mana creatures, right? So the fact that it costs 1 is not too relevant, I don't think. This thing sucks. Okay. I've seen this guy. This guy's a banger. This guy is a big banger. Orcus, Prince of Undeath. X2BR. For a demon with flying and trample, 5/3. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Each other creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. You lose X life. Or return up to X target creature cards with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Bear in mind, you can just cast them on turn 4 as well, by the way. You can just play a 5/3 flying trampler. X can be 0. X equals 0 is not a great creature, but it's definitely better than passing the turn, which would be the only reason why you cast it for X equals 0, because you don't have any other plays. X equals 1 is... I mean, the -1/-1 is incredibly relevant against a lot of decks, and you can get a 1-drop back. That's fine. Once you start getting to X equals 2, then things become real juicy. You're bringing back two 2-drops, or a 1-drop and a 2-drop. You're going off. It is a flying massacre worm for 6, yeah. At worst. This guy is good. He's very expensive, and red-black decks don't normally want very expensive cards, but if they do want an expensive card and they have enough lands to cast this guy, they want this guy. They want this guy. There's a lot of red-black treasure cards as well, huh? So you might be able to cheat this guy in a little bit. A little bit ahead of curve. I mean, to be honest, being able to cheat this in like 1 mana ahead of curve makes a massive difference. Card sucks? Nah, there's way too much utility on this thing for it to be bad. I don't think it's going to be more than like a one-off in decks, but this Orcus Prince of Undeath is going in some Magic decks. I can guarantee that. Excavation Torch. +1/+1 whenever it attacks Venture. That's 3 to equip. Get out of here. Veteran Labyrinth Explorer. 3 and a white when it enters the battlefield. Venture. Okay, Venture's beginning to become a bit Resident Sleeper already. Beginning of your end step, if a land enter the battlefield under your control, venture into a dungeon. 3 mana 2/3. Vigilance. When it attacks, roll a dice. Gain 1 life, gain 2 life, gain 5 life. Dragon's Disciple. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. If you do, or you control a dragon, Dragon's Disciple enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter. Dragons you control have ward 1. 2 mana 1/3, 2 mana 2/4 if you have a dragon. No flying. Okay, bad. Seems okay? No, not. Absolutely not okay. Eccentric Apprentice. Another Tiefling. 3 mana 2/2 flying as it enters the battlefield, venture into dungeon at the beginning of combat in your turn. If you've completed a dungeon, up to 1 target creature becomes a bird with base power and toughness 1/1 and flying until end of turn. Precipitous Drop. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Yeah. -2/2 gets... Wow, this card is terrible. This might be the worst card so far. 3 mana. I mean, this thing should cost 1 mana, right? Volo. Guide to Monsters. 2 GU. For Human Wizard, whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Is that a good commander? It looks like a good commander, no? But I guess, man, you have to have like 80 different creature types. Don't think you can play this in standard, man. 4 mana 3/2. That does nothing, by the way. Pixie Guide. 2 mana 2/2 flyer. If you would roll 1 or more dice... Wait, it's a 1/3. What the hell is this 2/2 for? If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. Lightfoot Rogue. 2 mana 2/1. When it attacks, roll a dice. Death Touch, +1/+0, Death Touch, +3, First Strike, Death Touch. Goblin Morningstar. 1 red, artifact equipment, +1/+0 and trample. Equip 2. It doesn't get attached. That's kind of scuffed, you know? I mean, this would be good if you could attach it to your goblin. Or to any creature. It does if you roll well. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So if half of the time the card is okay, and half of the time the card is unplayable, therefore the card is unplayable. The Deck of Many Things. 5 mana legendary artifact. Roll a d20 and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand. What? Return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand, draw 2 cards, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. I don't know, man, is this thing good? It's a better version of the Burgy artifact, huh? And the Burgy artifact's good, and this is better than it. Well, the discard part doesn't matter, because by the time in a game that you cast your 5 mana spells, you've not got any cards in your hand anyway. How long do you think you'll be alive when you cast this? Well, it depends what you're playing against, man. I mean, if you're playing against mono red, you're just going to sideboard it out, aren't you? If you're playing against many other decks, you're not going to sideboard it out, you're going to be very happy it's in your deck. I mean, don't get me wrong, chat. If you're comparing chances of this being bad to chances of it being okay, I would lean towards it being bad, but it's not impossible that you can use this. Scion of Stygia. 2 and a blue for a 2/1 flash. When it enters the battlefield, choose target creature an opponent controls, and you can tap it or tap in it. It doesn't untap. Scuffed. And kind of a limited bomb, that card though. Was that a common, that last one? Ginny Windseer. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1, scry 2, scry 3. Contact other plane. Draw 2, scry 2, draw 2, scry 3, draw 3. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. When you roll a natural 20, return it from graveyard to hand. Okay, chat. These cards suck. This has been the worst day so far. Feywild Trickster. When you roll 1 or more dice, create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying. Okay, so if I'm playing paper, can I cast this card and then just pick up my dice and roll them? And then I get to make some tokens. I mean, I've followed the rules of the card. Just start rolling, just pick them up, man. This card is OP in paper. We should have a roll the dice button in MTG. Well, there's definitely going to be a dice in Arena, right? You're going to have... There's going to be something. Because you need to have the dice for these limited cards, huh? I don't know what it's going to look like, but they're going to have to add something. Swarming Goblins. When it enters the battlefield, roll a dice. 1/1 token. 2 tokens. 3 tokens. Delina Wildmage. 3 and a red. When it attacks, choose target creature you control. Roll a dice. 1 to 14, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it has exile this creature at end of combat. 15 to 20, create one of those tokens, roll again. Choose target creature you control. Okay. Oh, so she can target herself? 4 mana 3/2 though, man. Like, this is Atris tier. Mirror March on a 4 mana 4/3. Well, it's not a 4 mana 4/3, man. If it was a 4 mana 4/3, it would be gas. But it doesn't have haste, it doesn't have an into the battlefield effect, and its stats are bad. The card's just scuffed, isn't it? My issue with this card is that if you cast this and your opponent removes it, you'll lose the game. If you cast this and your opponent doesn't remove it, and you get to attack with it, you don't necessarily win the game. That's not a good deal. That's a terrible deal. Not exactly Winota, is it? True. Gretchen Titwillow. Halfling Druid. 2 mana 0/4. And then for 4 you can draw a card to put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. Monka W. This guy is... or girl's pretty scary. Endless Growth Spirals. Well, not quite Growth Spirals, but it's on a 0-4 as well. I mean, 0-4 is decent. I mean, this card is absolutely incredible in draft, isn't it? Like, redonkulous good. But in Constructed, I think it's decent, man. I mean, I'm just picturing myself playing, having a nice little standard session. And I'm playing a deck with blue and green cards in it. And then I look at my opening hand, and I've got this in it. And I'm just thinking, cool, seems good. I'll just cast it then. And I'm happy to cast it. Sadly, it's legendary. Well, it's not the type of card you would play 4 of anyway, man. Like, I don't think the legendary tag matters. Like, even if it didn't have legendary, it would be, it's like a 2 of card, isn't it? I think this is gas. Simic is incredibly bad though. So it's not going to be good enough just with this. Hill Giant Herd Gorger. 4 GGs. For a 7/6, gain 3 life. Yep. Classic limited card right there. Brazen Dwarf. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, deal 1 damage to each opponent. 2 mana, 1/3. Nope. Jaded Sellsword. When it enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, it gains first strike and haste until end of turn. Nope. Almost though. Hoarding Ogre. 4 mana, 3/3. Make a treasure, make 2 treasures, make 3 treasures. Scuffed Lurking Roper. Does not untap during your untap step. Whenever you gain life, untap. 3 mana, 4/5. I mean, it's not quite a Lovestruck Beast, is it? The name on this card should just be not Lovestruck. That isn't terrible. It's pretty terrible. Hired Hexblade. When it enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I think this card's actually okay. But you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna play it in your treasure deck because your treasure deck's already so tight, isn't it? Like you need ways to make treasure and treasure payoffs, right? So you're not gonna waste one of your treasure payoff slots on this. You're gonna use the better ones. But I don't think the card's bad. It's fine. Arcane Investigator. 2/1 for 2. Draw a card, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Elf Vizard. Oh wait, it's 6. You have to pay 6 to roll? Okay, I thought that was an end to the battlefield. That's a yikes. 1/1 Haster for 1. When it becomes blocked, deal 1 damage to the target creature blocking it. Power of Persuasion. Choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a dice. 1 to 9, bounce it. 10 to 19, put it on top of, bottom, or the library. 20, gain control of it until the end of your next turn. Not exactly a Brazen Borrower, is it? Rimeshield Frost Giant. 5 mana, 4/5 giant with ward 3. Wizard's Spellbook. 7 mana artifact. Tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, roll a dice, activate only as a sorcery, copy the card, you may cast a copy. Copy the card, you may cast a copy by paying 1. Copy each card exiled with Wizard Spellbook, you may cast any number of the copies without paying their cost. 7 mana, have a 50% chance of being able to cast a spell from your grave. Well, you need 8 mana to do that, right? Because you still have to pay 1. This thing is just terrible, isn't it? Okay, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening. The main event. This thing is absolutely fucked. Absolutely fucked. Get your Monk of Christ out, chat. We need to cleanse the world. This thing needs an exorcism, dude. Blue, 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 blue. This spell costs blue less to cast for each instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. Okay. So we're hopefully going to cast this for like 1 or 2. And so we get a 1 or a 2 mana 4/3. Okay, sounds good. Whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast a copy. Okay, already gas. You may cast a Demi-Lich from your graveyard by exiling 4 instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard, in addition to paying its other costs. Okay, so this is a 0, 1 or 2 mana 4/3 that lets you rebuy spells from your graveyard, and it also has escape. I don't know, man. That's a good card. Phoenix and this. This card's going to be good in Standard, man. Well, obviously it's fucked up in older formats too, but Prowess in Standard, coming through. Sprite Dragon. Demi-Lich. Stormwing Entity. Brazen Borrower. Bonecrusher Giant. There's your creatures. Those are all God tier. Expressive Iteration. Prismari Command to feed your graveyard for this pleb. Opt, Shock, and Crash Through. 20 to 22 lands. Maybe some of the red man land. And you're off to the races. You're playing some modern against like Sultai Ultimatum shit decks. Could be good in Magecraft decks. Yeah, but you'll need to play blue, right? There's not too much reason to play blue in Magecraft decks. Like, because there's no... It would just be blue-red, right? Blue-red's really the only one you can play. Blue-white has no lands. 3-colour decks, unplayable. This will replace Gadwick in my mono-blue list. Cool. When you attack and copy an instant sorcery, does it trigger the Magecraft? And when you cast He Copy, does it trigger it again? Don't know, man. The second ever blue mana cost card. First one I'm having trouble finding. What? How do you know that it's the second one if you can't find the first one? Finally, something that makes Manamorphose good. Alright, dude, we need Manamorphose in Standard. How about we just add Manamorphose to Standard? Make it like an evergreen card. Like Bronto. Just in every set. Yep, I mean, don't know what to tell you, chat. Card is absolute gas. It will not be the first card I use from the new set. The first thing we're gonna do is turn 2 lethal. But it's the second thing we're gonna do is play Prowess with this dirty little bad oral dental hygiene disgusting freak of a card. I mean, this thing is unbelievable, man. This thing is unbelievable. I cannot believe it's a real card. It's hyped me for the set all by itself. Red Dragon. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Alright, back to the shit cards, chat. Sag. 1 red for a 3/3 with haste. -2, -0 until end of turn, draw a card. Kalane Reclusive Painter. Human Elf Bard. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. Okay, this guy's kind of gas. That's a 1/2 Wily Goblin, mate. That's a 1/2 Wily Goblin. Turn 2, we go this guy into Thoughtseize. That's it, that's the new meta. This guy, Thoughtseize, GG's. I mean, this guy's really good, huh? I'm actually quite hyped to try a red-black treasure deck. Sounds good. Isn't the new discard card better than Thoughtseize with treasures? Yeah, it's better than I think that new discard card might be the best card in the set, man. No cap. Oh, well, second best now. Guardian of Faith. 3 mana, 3/2, Flash, Vigilance, Spirit Knight. When it enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. This guy's kinda OP. I'm so done with 3 mana white rares though. Okay, like, every single white card in existence is a 3 mana rare. It's unreal. Liking it? Yeah, this guy's obviously insane, yeah. So what 3-drops can you play now? I mean, you've got to play 4 of this clown. 4 Spellbinders, 4 of this, 4 Apparitions. Is Redain in the bin? Is Redain dead? Probably. Is this good though? Yes. A 3 mana, 3/2 board wipe protection card is good. People played Midnight Reaper. People play Anax. People will play this. Cards that protect you from board wipes for 3 mana are forced cards that you have to play. But it's kind of a weird like balance between board wipes and these anti-board wipe cards. That these anti-board wipe cards basically make board wipes unplayable, but at the same time you kind of have to play these anyway, even though board wipes are unplayable. It's pretty crazy. Holding up mana is awkward though. How is it awkward, man? How is it awkward? You hold up your 3 mana, if they cast a board wipe, you flash your guy in. If they don't cast a board wipe, you flash your guy in. What's awkward about that? How do you get your stuff back? No, they phase out, right? Treat them and anything attached to them as though they don't exist until their controller's next turn. So on your opponent's turn, you flash this guy in, you hide your dudes, and then you untap and you get your dudes back. That guy's gas. Yo, I leave Magic because COVID. I come back and now phase out is evergreen. Looks like it, man. Sigh. As if mono white wasn't good enough. Gandalf is triggered. Exactly how I like him to be. Sigh. Minimus Containment. Alright, this card needs to be called Minimus Containmus. That is bad. Enchanted Permanent is a treasure artifact. With sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any colour. What? Hadar's Messenger. 5 mana 4/4 blah 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 blah. 5 mana 6/2. Roll a dice, activate this only if it's in your graveyard. Okay, here it is, chat. Rare weapon. I see equip 1. Equip 1 is good. +2/+1, when it dies you may have Dancing Sword become a creature with flying and ward 1. If you do, it isn't an equipment. So it doesn't get equipped when you first play it, huh? That's a big yikes. It's a 3 mana card? Yeah, it's a 3 mana card. It's not quite Maul, is it? I mean, the first equip is not better than Maul. The second one is kind of, I guess. But the first equip is the important one, huh? This is for an artifact deck ... What makes you think that, man? Is it because it says artifact on it? That is some high level analysis. I don't know, guys. I think this thing might not see play. I don't think people will even play Maul anymore, to be honest. Like, we're already down to 1 Maul and mono white, huh? I can see it getting to 0. Why won't people play Maul? It costs 3, man. Wizards want transform magic into new Hearthstone with this RNG. Don't know, man. Don't think it's that big of a deal, is it? Game's already filled to the brim with... It's already got more RNG in it than Hearthstone. So, I don't know why that's weird to you. All the RNG cards are shit, so it doesn't matter. Even if they were good, it wouldn't matter either, man, I don't think. Shit take? I don't think it is, man. I think Magic's a more random game than Hearthstone. By a significant amount. All you have to do is look at the win rates of the best players, man. The best players win more games of Hearthstone than the best Magic players do. There's no way to counter that argument. Some Magic cards are random, but every single game of Magic is, or some Hearthstone cards are random, but every single game of Magic has a massive impact of RNG. I don't know. That doesn't matter, man. That's fine, right? Who cares? But you don't no reason to pretend that's not true. That's just kind of weird. Hearthstone has to build in RNG because there's less variance in deck building. Yeah, exactly. And it's because variance is good, right? So I don't really understand why people are so obsessed with like declaring that they play the card game with the least variance when they play people only play card games because variance is such a massive part of it. If you do not value variance, then you're playing the wrong game, the wrong type of game, the wrong genre. We can tell the truth about that and then also still like Magic. We don't need to protect our game, you know. Allow me to protect my game of choice, so that I can pretend that there's less RNG in Magic than there is in Hearthstone. Don't need to do it, man. It's fucking weird. Sit up, chat. Sit up. Get your posture right, you know, stick your chest out and say, there's a lot of random things in Magic, and I still like Magic. Let's say it together. I'm willing to admit that Magic has some RNG in it, and that's okay because I still like the game. There we go, it's fine. What the hell is this? 1 mana Saga? If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that. Gain the next. What the hell is this? Class. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. This sentence is not English. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. This is not the language that I speak. So we pay red and we get this thing. And then we pay 1 in a red and we get this thing. And then we pay 2 in a red and we get this thing. So we pay 1 red and we get, if you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. What? Is that like forever? For a turn? For a phase? What's the deal here? Forever. Okay. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and menace until end of turn. Creatures you control have haste. I don't understand this card at all. So this is like, after I pay 6 mana, every creature I play for the rest of the game has haste? And do I get all 3? Like, if I go to level 2, whenever I roll a dice, I roll 2 dice, and my creature gets +2/+0 and menace. Well, that seems very broken, but I mean, all the cards that involve rolling dice suck though, don't they? So that is a yikes. What gains 3 abilities? Yeah, I think you get them all, but you have to pay for them, right? And you just can't, there's no cards to roll a dice with. Because I mean, you're not going to play 1 copy of this in your deck, are you? With like 4 cards that roll a dice. You're going to play 4 copies of this or 0, and you're going to fill your deck with some dice shit. But there's not enough cards to go in a dice deck, to be honest with you. Zorn. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional token. Okay, this is the type of effect that Treasure Tribal needs, but this card sucks. This card needs to also make a treasure. Or at least be a 2-drop, huh? If it was a 2-drop maybe? It needs to either be a 2 mana 3/2 or a 3 mana 3/2 that also makes a treasure when it comes into play. It is neither of those things, therefore sadly it sucks. Old Gnawbone. Green Mythic Dragon. 7 mana, 7/7. Whenever a creature you control deals damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Bruv, this thing sucks. No haste, no end to the battlefield effect, no nothing. It's just a 7 mana creature that does absolutely nothing except let you cast another 7 mana creature after it attacks. It is a 7 mana ramp card. This is like that card that lets you tap your mana for 3 mana, huh? Gruul Treasure Ramp Dragons. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. You might have to go to another stream to watch that deck, though. I see a Mythic Rakdos card, chat. Prepare yourselves. Prepare your asses. Prosper Tomebound. 2 BR for a Warlock with Death Touch, 1/4. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn you may play that card. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. Okay, garbage. That's a bit sad, isn't it? Ecuador! Ecuador!